Let's bring in Senator Chris Murphy, member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Just got off a plane from Ukraine. Senator, thank you for joining us this morning. You were there all day yesterday. The mood?
Yeah. Well, the mood is tense. Clearly, we're watching events in Crimea. This sham referendum isn't fooling anyone. You see additional troops being mustered by the Russians on the eastern border. But the Ukrainians that we talked to, both government officials and folks who were really the people who drove the Maidan movement in Kyiv, are clear that Ukrainians are not going to go down without a fight. That if Russia really does decide to move beyond Crimea, it is going to be bloody, and the fight may be long. And they need help from the United States.
Well,
I think they're very glad to hear that from us.
I wanted to get that to you. I mean, is the United States prepared to send military aid to the Ukraine? I know there's an economic aid package that's gotten bogged down in some internal politics in the Senate. Is military aid on the table?
Well, I think as soon as we get back to Washington, you'll see the Senate and the House pass an economic aid package along with sanctions. I think there are a lot of ways that we can assist in the resistance. I'm not sure that we're to the point of providing arms, but they need all sorts of non-lethal assistance like MREs that we can put on the ground. And then I think it is appropriate to work with the Ukrainians on a longer-term effort to try to rebuild their military, which had been gutted by President Yanukovych over the past 3 or 4 years.
You mentioned that if the Russians move further into eastern Ukraine, it could be bloody, that the Ukrainians are prepared to fight. But we're having this vote in the Crimea today. I think everyone has a good idea of where it's going to go. One way or another, the Crimeans are going to vote to be closer to Russia. Is that a fait accompli? Is there anything that can be done to reverse that right now?
Well, I don't think there's anything that can be done to reverse the vote. I mean, I'd be surprised if it's not 70, 80, 90%, given the fact that the Russians have shut down all of the Ukrainian media inside of the region. But I don't think that Putin's ambition is Crimea here. Ultimately, his ambition is to try to keep control of the entirety of Ukraine. If he controls Crimea and loses the rest of Ukraine, which is 95% of the population, that's a loss for Russia's world power and prestige. So I think he may stop after this referendum and try to negotiate something with Ukraine that would pull them away from the European Union. But in every single meeting that we did while we were on the ground in the last few days, there is no appetite from the new Ukrainian government to do a deal with Russia that forestalls their plan to join the European Union.